of Education in partnership with Crime Line and the South African Police Service will today launch Young Crime Liners, which is aimed at tackling criminal activities in schools. South African Democratic Teachers Union has called for the violence against teachers to come to an end. The resolution was adopted at the Sadtu meeting in Kempton Park over the weekend. The union has called for the creation of a national violence against teachers registry and for research to be conducted at the schools where such incidents occurred. Now, we are joined here in studio this morning by the General Secretary of Sadtu, Mr. Mugwena Maluleke. Good morning and thank you for joining us.
Good morning. Thank you.
Is violence against teachers in our schools a national crisis right now?
It is a national crisis right now. It is underreported, though we know very well that it is indeed a national crisis.
I read some statistics that 3% of teachers every year are attacked, and that number is quite staggering. It's 127,000 teachers are attacked during school hours, most of them, by the way, women. Is that number accurate, and what were the resolutions? How are you guys thinking of combating that?
Well, the number can be, accurate, especially that we are experiencing an underreporting of these particular incidences, especially as it happens in the township, as it happens in the rural schools. It is not being reported, and therefore, because we don't have a national registry to track down these incidents as they happen at the level of the schools. Now, our resolution is very clear that, look, we need to create a national registry where we are able to record and track. But interesting is that we need to have solutions to these particular problems around the violence against teachers.
You say it's underreported. The number that's reported is staggering already. Are women teachers, female teachers, at risk in schools more so than men?
In high schools, you have more women at risk than men. As you look at the primary schools, that the number will also correlate to indicate very clear that female teachers are more at risk than men. And if you look at the rural school, you will have a smaller number of those particular incidences. However, if you look at the city schools and the suburb schools, the numbers is growing up. But obviously, because of the number of teachers in the system are more female, obviously the number is higher in that particular instance.
Corporal punishment has been taken out of schools. How is the lack of corporal punishment, how has it affected discipline, according to you, in schools in South Africa?
Look, because we don't have research, what we can say is what is being reported by our members and general by the teachers is that indeed discipline is a problem since the abolishment of corporal punishment. So it has impacted negatively on the learning and teaching in our schools.
I wanted to ask you about security because I've visited some schools and there were people at school that were not supposed to be there at some of the schools that I've visited. How adequate is security at schools in South Africa?
Well, because you're seated with a situation where rural schools, township schools basically don't have the security. The schools that would have experienced better security are the schools where at least are in the suburbs, in the city schools. So the schools are vulnerable, to say the least. Is that not learners, it's not only learners who are attacking the teachers, but some community members are attacking the teachers because some of the learners report to them and then they wait for the teachers to get out of the schools and attack them. And they start a fair, basically, in our schools. There's no control.
Yeah, that's very, very, very difficult and very dangerous. I wanted to move on quickly. We've got Atlanta Mate, who will be joining us from Mafeking. Their teachers in that area are threatening to disrupt the matric examinations today, actually. The Northwest Education MEC, Wendle Matsemela, has made a commitment, though, that concerns over rural allowance payments to teachers in Khanalagte and surrounding areas will be addressed within this week. But if I can just ask, Atlanta, thanks for joining us. Just tell us what's happening at Khanalagte and why the teachers are not happy, and if the threat to disrupt matric exams, is it legitimate?
Well, morning, Eben. Indeed, normal teaching and learning is taking place after teachers affiliated to Sadtu decided to abandon their protest action of disrupting examinations. At this stage, we do know that Sadtu has given the Department of Education until Friday to respond positively to their demand of rural allowance incentives in the area of Atamelang region. Now, they've told us that if the department does not respond positively to them and does not address their concerns, they will in fact disrupt examinations and lessons at schools in those areas.
Has there been an official response from the MEC in this case to this threat to disrupt matric exams?
Okay, well, the MEC has condemned, the possible plans to disrupt, examinations. She has told us that the HOD of the department has been conducting site visits to try and resolve the matter. But for now, we have not gotten a feedback as to how that process is unfolding. We are told that by Thursday there will be a response because they should be giving Sadtu a response by Friday, a positive response, well, we hope.
Atlanta, I've got the General Secretary of Sadtu with us in studio here, Mr. Mugwena Maluleke. I just wanted to ask him his response to what you've just reported there about this threat to the matric exams, and what do you make of the timing of this? Isn't this the worst of times to? It's almost like we had at the World Cup, where when the event is about to take place, you hold people ransom by saying we'll disrupt it.
Well, let me correct that as Sadtu, we did not disrupt the World Cup.
Not the World Cup, in the matric exams I'm talking about, Mr.
Yeah, no, look, this issue of the rural allowance is a problem, it's a national problem. We have been dealing with it almost for the whole year. Yeah. We have seen the minister not coming to the party in terms of resolving this particular issue. However, over the weekend we have resolved that we have to report each and every incident that might disrupt the matric examination. So I am happy that at least the union at that particular level has decided not to disrupt the matric examination and therefore engage the minister. And then we hope that the MEC will then be able to come to the party, because this is a serious issue where teachers travel 150 kilometers single and without any compensation for that matter. So it's disruptive on its own to the lives of the teachers and the lives of our learners.
Atlanta, if I can bring you in, I was informed a little bit earlier that, this allowance was brought in to attract better teachers or more teachers to the rural areas. But I get a sense that there are teachers that live in the area that use this allowance also as a form of income. And that could be creating part of the problem, don't you agree?
Yes, indeed, Eben. It seems as though some teachers are using it for day-to-day expenses, travel costs. Some are living in the area, while some are justifying that they live around in the nearest town, which is about over 100 kilometers. So at this stage, we cannot say who, we don't have, a point, what can I say? We don't have, evidence that these teachers are residing around or they're residing in the nearest town.
Atlanta, if I can just finish up with you, can you just give us a little insight as to what some of the other news coming out of your region today?
Okay. Well, we are monitoring the drought story. You know that the Northwest has been it has been declared as a drought-stricken area. So we know that the Premier has appointed a task team to try and resolve the matter, to try and provide relief to farmers who are affected. We will also be monitoring what is happening at Impala. AMCU has threatened to go on a mass action strike.
Thank you very much, Atlanta Mate. They're coming to you live from Mahikeng, giving us a little insight into what you can expect there, and also with the commitment made by the MEC on rural allowances by teachers. And just to get back to you, Mr. Maluleke, around this constant threat of violence, how is it affecting the mood amongst teachers and teaching in general in South Africa?
Look, violence against teachers has huge cost for our country, basically. We lose a lot of teaching time. We lose a lot of good teachers who leave the system prematurely. But it also has a cost to the parents, and especially to the perpetrators of this particular violence against the teachers. So you have a situation where the country is going to perpetually be supporting this person who has dropped out of the school precisely because of this particular violence against teachers. Because when the learner is being charged, the learner is dismissed from the school, clearly it is that the learner is going to be perpetually depending on government in terms of support for a lifetime. And that to to me is a huge cost that we cannot afford in the country.
Well, we hope that the resolutions that you've made over the weekend that will bear some fruit and that the situation improves. But as you said, maybe it's time to bring back corporal punishment back into the schools and see how that goes. Thank you for joining us this morning.
It's our pleasure.